In 2021, everyday Australians were scammed out of $1.8 billion. And since 1 in 3 people who have been scammed don't really report on it, the true number may be even higher. Now, I know the $1.8 billion may not be easy to digest. Let me give you a couple of other numbers. NIB, the health insurer, in FY21 made $2.6 billion in revenue. Okay, and on the other side, Seek.com.au made nearly $1.4 billion in revenue. So these scammers are making nearly as much money as these ASX-listed companies. It's incredible. Scamwatch, which does a lot of the reporting, has seen some crazy growth rates in terms of the scams that they're seeing come through. In 2019, they saw $143 million reported. 2020, $176 million. 2021, $324 million. And as of mid-year this year, June 2022, they've seen nearly $300 million. So we're on track for nearly $600 million in 2022. At the rate this thing is going, easy money low, we may not have to keep increasing interest rates. The scammers are taking enough money out of the Australian economy as it is. Now, the scams that account for the largest dollar amount are investment scams. So in this video, we're going to go through those scams. We're going to talk about what they look like, how to avoid them, and what to do if you might have been caught up in them. So let's get into it. Now, cryptocurrencies have had quite a run in terms of great returns for the people who have invested in them, but they've also been caught up in a lot of scams. And unfortunately, a lot of the $700 million came from investment scams where people thought they were investing in cryptocurrencies, but they weren't. It was actually just a scam set up to take their money away. What was essentially happening was people were being advertised these crypto investment platforms or these investment products where they would say, give us your money and we'll invest in cryptocurrencies on your behalf, and you might see these amazing returns. And what they would do is essentially take your money, make it look like you were investing in some platform. They'd let you log in. You might see these nice numbers, great returns, and they'd say, send more money so we can help keep growing your actual investments. But then what was actually happening was they were just siphoning your money off, because when you actually wanted to pull out your money and take your great returns, they'd say, oh, there's something wrong with the platform, they're having issues, or you've been banned, or for whatever reason, you just couldn't get access to your money. And what they had essentially done was just take it away. The next type is where you're getting contacted directly by these scammers, either through social media, email, or phone call, saying they've got these great investment opportunities in foreign exchange, real estate, or something along those lines. Unfortunately, scammers have actually tried to pretend being me on things like Instagram and actually set up fake profiles that look like mine and try to contact people directly saying, hey, do you want to invest in foreign exchange opportunities? And I've actually had people send me screenshots, message me directly saying, did you know someone set up a fake account that looks like yours trying to do this? Because I guarantee it's not me. Now, can I just say right now, I would never directly contact you about some investment opportunity, foreign exchange, or anything like that. I'm pretty bad as it is responding to people who have asked me questions, let alone contacting you directly on anything. Now, the next type is where there's a celebrity endorsement. You've probably seen this, and usually people can kind of filter this out. But I'll throw up a couple of examples, but it's where they've tried to use some celebrity, some new fake news article that shows the celebrity, and you can get great returns because of this project, this new investment they've created, or something along those lines. And the other type of scam is where they try and get you to access your superannuation early. Now, there are a lot of rules around accessing superannuation early if you don't hit a certain age, but these scammers will try and set up some kind of way or some story that you can tell your superannuation company to try and get access to your superannuation early. And they say you can then use it to do whatever, but they end up just taking the money away from you altogether. Now, that's very scary because that's superannuation money. That's meant to set you up for the long term, but they're taking it straight away from you. It's also slightly illegal because you're not meant to be accessing your superannuation unless it's under certain circumstances. So you may not only lose your money, but you may get hit by the Australian regulatory authorities on accessing your superannuation early as well. So Sanji, how do I avoid these scams? I hear you. Here are 3 things that Scamwatch has called out. The first is get professional advice. Seek legitimate financial advisors that can help you ascertain, determine, whatever it is, if this investment is legitimate. Now, the Scamwatch website also had a couple of useful links to check out and find good financial advisors, but also to check if an investment is legitimate. The other thing is to obviously do your own research. Go online when you do see these scams. Don't just follow through their links, but also just Google the name of the investment company or the name of the investment and type scam in right after it, just to see, is this a legitimate thing? And the third piece of advice from Scamwatch was to avoid taking any advice from anyone who you've met online. I see the irony, don't worry, it's not missed on me. But I think what they're trying to basically say is anyone who completely engages you online, but then also tries to get you to follow certain investment products or get you to buy certain investment products that they're trying to sell to you, be very suspicious. Now, the Scamwatch reports that about 50% of contact is actually made through the phone. And something I've learned to do recently is turn on this little feature of the iPhone, which is the silence unknown callers element. And what it basically does is it blocks any blocked numbers, unknown numbers from actually even getting through to your phone. It just goes straight to voicemail. You got to be careful of this though, because where it means unknown, it can mean anyone who's not in your address book. So even if your GP is calling or some organization like the car mechanic company that's trying to call you about your car, if you haven't actually saved them in your phone, it might go straight through to voicemail. So it's a powerful feature, but use it wisely and just be conscious you might end up sending a lot of legitimate calls through to your voicemail as well. Now, if you're anything like me, your biggest worry is probably not you getting scammed, but your family members getting scammed. Your parents, your grandparents, and it's the same for them as well. You got to make sure they're using good passwords, two-factor authentication, making sure they're not taking any dodgy calls from people pretending to be the ATO, especially at this time of year, the tail end of the calendar year, when everyone's doing their tax returns or meant to be doing their tax returns. They get calls from the ATO saying this and that, and they're fake calls, or the federal police are coming to your house. All of that stuff can be very worrying, and just, at this time, make sure you're getting across your family members to make sure that they're also following some of these key guidelines. Unfortunately, if you have been scammed, the key advice from Scamwatch was to obviously contact your financial organization as quickly as possible to get them to reverse the transfers, the payment plans, whatever you have set up to try and get it cancelled and get the money recovered as soon as possible. Then there's obviously things like resetting your passwords, changing your passwords, changing your PIN numbers. And if you have time, obviously, and if you're in the right state of mind, to put in a report to Scamwatch. I've had a quick look at their reporting system. It seems pretty straightforward, but to report it. Even, obviously, if you don't get scammed, but you see a dodgy scam out there, try and get that reported as well, because we need to raise awareness amongst our family and friends on this and really get this cut down. Because some of the numbers we're seeing are quite scary. $600 million potentially this year, probably over $2 billion in 2022. We cannot let that keep growing.